Christina. Welcome to the Calm and Chaos podcast. I'm so excited that you're here today.
I am so excited to be here today. Good morning, Carmen. Well, good morning on my end.
Yeah, and
Good
good evening
evening in
here.
the UK.
Yeah. I'm so pleased you're here. I've read your book and I loved it, and it is really hitting on exactly what children and adults and parents need right now. So, yeah, I'm just so thrilled to be sharing your journey today. So tell us a little bit, because you're a teacher.
I am, yes.
So tell us a little bit about your teaching journey, and then we'll veer into your authoring journey.
Of course. Thank you. I have been teaching for, oh my gosh, almost, I'd say 21 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So I started right away outside of university
Amazing.
and taught first for 14 years in the Catholic system. I was a
Hmm.
product of the Catholic system,
Okay.
and then went into the Catholic system as a teacher and absolutely loved it. Loved the sense of community. The schools were smaller.
Hmm.
It was a nice way to feel really close to the students. And I was so worried I was never going to get that if I
Mm-hmm.
left the system. And then in 2018, I took a leap and I switched over to the public system
Okay.
and joined the Burnaby School District and found everything I was worried I wasn't going to find.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
absolutely wonderful. And I've been teaching at
Amazing.
Alpha Secondary School ever since in Burnaby. And it's such a beautiful school. It is a gem. It's not too big and not too small with wonderful
Great.
staff. And I just love teaching. I'm the visual and performing arts department head.
Okay.
So I'm the drama teacher and the director of all the big shows at
Wow.
school.
That takes so much. Amazing.
It's a busy time
Yeah.
always. I feel like
Yes.
I always say there's seasons, but then right after I'm like, okay, now we're starting this. Now we're starting this. So
Yes. But
busy
huge
all the
rewards
time.
in that much work, hey?
Huge rewards. That part is probably the best part. Like seeing your kids literally grow on and off the stage
Yeah. Yeah.
is just it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
And we also
absolutely.
teach leadership, and
Okay.
we go into elementary school classrooms a few times a week, and the kids learn to lead lessons
Oh, wow.
and bring different topics into the classroom,
Wow,
with
yeah.
inclusion and kindness. And
Great.
we're going in a whole bunch this month for Earth Day, and
Great.
doing like recycling lessons. And so
Amazing.
it's a lot of fun. And I also teach English, which is my other passion, writing.
Sure, writing. Well, my goodness, you have such a wide breadth of teaching abilities.
it's,
That's
it's a lot.
huge.
It's very busy all the
Yeah,
time.
that's full on.
But it's and
And
I
you're
teach
a
both,
mom.
and I'm a mama. And
And
that's
you're a
probably
mama.
been the hardest is
Yeah.
learning. I'm not even going to say I have balance because I don't, and I know I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It's never been easy, especially
No.
since I've always been full time. I've never been able to be a part-time teacher. So
Wow.
full time with two kiddos at home.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a lot.
So, yeah, absolutely. And every mom is looking for that balance, and it seems impossible, and it's not an easy world to have balance in. But you're just doing so many positive things, and I think that's the right, way to even begin to look for balance, and it's that equilibrium within yourself and stuff too, and that you're teaching children to have, right?
Yes,
That's how you're growing these next generations, and showing them all those really key qualities that I really feel BC has woven really well into the two curriculums that have come in
our
the past
curriculum.
10 years.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. I was very
everything.
fortunate to be study in the first one. And so I just knew it inside and out, and I thought, oh, this is heading in the right direction.
Yes. And
Yeah.
the changes have been so positive,
Yes.
which has been so lovely seeing the BC curriculum grow
Yeah.
so naturally and
Hmm.
complement what the kids need most.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm so pleased. Yeah. I feel like we could do a whole episode on the curriculum, but we're going to
oh,
stick
yes,
to this because
I will come back. We'll do more.
amazing. So, being a mom, being a full-time teacher for so long, obviously there are themes that come up in parenthood and in teaching. So, what was it that's driven you first towards writing? Obviously, you're a talented writer if you're teaching English, but specifically the theme of your book, it's very specific and wonderful and also complicated. So can you talk a little bit about how this has come about?
Course.
Yeah.
So when my bottle gets too full,
Yeah.
came from a metaphor that I've always used at home with my kids. My two boys are neurodiverse.
Hmm.
So my oldest um, has always struggled with emotional regulation since he was like out of the womb.
Hmm.
And my youngest is autistic. And so
Hmm.
emotions come out in different ways. And we
Yep.
have stimming and all kinds of things that have been present.
Hmm.
And I noticed when my kids were young, and I, of course, I see it in the classroom and even
Yes.
more so now. But when my kids were young and couldn't emotionally regulate yet,
Hmm.
and still, I mean, we all know as professionals, this is like a journey into adulthood. And
Oh
I know
gosh, yes.
who also cannot emotionally
Of
regulate. But
course.
it when they're little, sometimes the feelings are just so big and they
Yes,
come out in different behaviors.
of course.
And so my oldest in particular he was judged all the time for his great big
Yeah.
behaviors. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised, like there's the stairs and when you're out in public places, and
Hmm.
he was a bolter and he'd be running and you're trying to gather and you're sweating through all your clothes, and
Hmm.
he's being looked at, and there
Yeah.
were teachers who would do the same. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he was that child who a teacher would say, oh, you're getting this one.
Oh,
um and it was just heartbreaking
of
because
course.
he's the sweetest, most empathetic child,
Yeah.
but his emotions were just really big.
Yeah.
um, and especially when things were layering and building
Hmm.
and building and building, and then
Yeah.
so that's where we started using the bottle, and we would talk about it all the time. So like it wasn't about the fact that I forgot to take the crust off his sandwich at lunch.
Hmm.
It was all the things that added up till
Yes.
we got to the crusts that
Yes.
weren't cut off the sandwich at lunch.
Hmm.
And it was so important for them to understand that it's okay to have big feelings, but we need to
Yes.
talk about them more often
Yes.
so they don't feel too big for us to manage.
Absolutely. And I feel like your book is, our generation would have really benefited from a book like this because it's a toolbox. And I really feel like your book is as necessary for adults as it is
Yeah.
for children,
Yes.
right?
And I keep telling people around me, actually, I have a girlfriend right now who is having a very difficult time. She's going through cancer treatment. And she's like, I read it every day because
Yeah.
she's my emotions. I feel so many things right now, and I need to remind myself that it's okay.
Yeah.
And I just need to unpack my bottle.
Yes.
And I tell the kids too, whenever, excuse me, whenever I
Hmm.
talk to classrooms,
Yeah.
I remind the kids, I say, go home and talk about your bottle with your parents,
Yeah.
but also remind them that
Yes.
they need to unpack their bottles,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
as parents, as grown-ups, we forget. And
Yeah.
how many times do we have those moments where you get home and you're like, I forgot to
Hmm.
frost the meat for
Yeah.
dinner, and then I'm stuck, and then no.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it ourselves.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah, it is. And so you've done live readings now.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
I just did one recently at Chapters Indigo at the
That's
Metrotown location.
amazing. Oh,
Yes,
at
it was so wonderful.
Metrotown. Good for
At Metrotown,
you.
I
That's
know
huge.
it's such a
Yeah.
big store and it's
Yeah.
lovely. And I absolutely loved doing it, and just
Yeah.
being in the midst of such a full kids department. There's
Yeah.
kids everywhere, and oh, it was
Amazing.
just so beautiful. And
Yeah,
then I also am in the classroom all the time, so I have a lot of
of
different classes that have
course. Yeah.
brought me in to read to the kids, and then we talk about
Amazing.
emotions, and I bring
Yes. Your
my
bottle.
bottle, and we talk about how easily it gets filled up, and the
Yeah.
kids put their pom pom feelings inside, and then they
Yeah.
can really see it. And this is probably their favorite thing every
Yeah.
time is
Well,
the bottle.
absolutely. It's tangible, it's colorful, it's something that it's not a foreign object. It's like I can have this at my house. I can do something with it. I can
Yes.
relate it to the book. So obviously you've worked with hundreds and hundreds of children. I haven't worked with as many as you, but hundreds. But so when you're reading your book for live reading in a classroom or in a amazingly big bookstore, I'm so proud of you. What themes you see coming out in questions from children and maybe even from adults? Like I'm curious about that too.
Well, it's so wonderful because the teachers are always so great at helping to also lead the questions. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I've spoken to as young as preschool,
Great.
and
Yeah,
all the way up to grade 4.
great.
And
Yeah.
of course, the age level of the kids is going to bring about different
Different
topics.
things. Yeah.
And from the littles, it's so funny because the minute you get onto one topic, it just like scatters through the circle. So there was a
Mm,
preschool class, and one little child put up their hand and said, my mom's dog passed away. My mom's dog died.
uh,
I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said,
mm,
yes, and that's going to put a lot of feelings in our bottle.
mm,
And then right away, my friend's best friend's cat died, and
mm,
and the whole circle. It was like it
mm.
was funny after, because I was like, oh my gosh, that entire thing was about pet death. but
Right. Yeah.
but it gave them a venue to
Yes.
talk about something they might not have talked about before, and all
Yeah.
the feelings that come with losing something that's so special. And
Mm-hmm.
then the teacher said, oh, and it's hard because sometimes we can feel lots of feelings at the same time. So we can be really sad about losing our pet, but we
Mm-hmm.
can also be really happy about other things that are happening. And
Mm-hmm.
it brought about this beautiful topic of joy and sadness and how they
Yes.
can exist together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a grown-up thing that
Yes, it is.
we
Mhm.
experience with grief that we still battle as
Yes,
adults. So touching
absolutely.
on this with 3 and 4 year olds
Yeah.
and just using it at their level was so beautiful. Um,
I yeah, I wish my son had been there, both my kids, but we actually lost the most beautiful puppy ever to we did absolutely everything possible, but it was a congenital issue and my son has struggled so much with it.
oh,
So
I'm
I'll
so
be
sorry.
Thank you. It's a journey because like you say as an adult I'm grieving, the whole family's grieving and then I'm seeing my kids experience you don't want children to have to experience loss, but it's life. And I actually brought in this was a couple of years ago and he still struggles. So I will be reading him your book and especially when it comes up, because things you things you wouldn't even realize it just brings things up, doesn't it?
Comes
And
right in, and it and they
yeah.
and the bubbles bubble
Yes,
to the surface. And
exactly.
especially with
Yeah.
things like grief is, it can be so cyclical, but then it
Yeah.
can also be so spontaneous.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's helping the kids to understand that yes, this is going to pop up suddenly, and that's okay that it's sudden, and
Yes.
you just have to feel it in the moment.
I
And
love
let's talk
this.
about
Yeah.
it. Let's empty our bottle and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I completely understand. I'm so sorry for your
Yeah.
loss. Losing
Thank
a
you.
family pet is
Oh,
one of the hardest things. And
it is.
it happened to me when I was little. I wish
Mhm.
that my bottle book was around when I
Yes,
was.
absolutely.
My mom said I carried around a stuffy of a dog to school for months,
Oh,
months.
oh my,
And
that's
so
so
yes,
heartbreaking.
it's heartbreaking. So I
Hmm.
totally understand.
That's
Um,
lovely.
and
Yeah.
so grief is just, it's one of the themes that comes out,
Yeah.
but
But what
but
else? Tell me more.
oh, well, I mean, the fun
It's
thing is
endless, isn't it?
it is
Yeah.
endless.
Yeah.
And every day, depending on what that day is. So, like, there was one class I went into and it just snowed for the first time. So, there was all of this joy, and the classroom was literally vibrating. And there was joy and excitement. And so, everybody was putting pom poms in that day. It was just like, I'm excited and I'm happy. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do in the snow today? So, it's also them understanding, because I
Wonderful.
think they feel like, The only thing that causes our big feelings and our emotions are the bad feelings,
Yeah, but that's
the
not
hard
true.
feelings.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not true,
yeah.
because we
Mm-hmm.
can be so full of joy
Mm-hmm.
and excitement that that also can come brimming out in different behaviors
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
emotions. And that's often like my youngest, he stims most when he's excited,
Mm-hmm.
or happy about something, or really engaged in something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also brought about the ability for me to share openly about what stimming is, um,
Wonderful. I'm
and
so happy to hear
educating the
this. Yeah.
kids. And
Mm-hmm.
that way, because when they see someone who's walking around, and my son is a fist clencher,
Okay.
um, and it's so when they see that, sometimes they might be like, oh, I remember. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that stimming is a part of somebody showing their emotions,
Yes.
and just physically. And he's even said, Mom, that was the easiest way for me to describe that, because he gets asked all the time. And I said, it's
Mm,
just your emotions coming out. You're showing them in a different way. I think it helps him to feel more seen,
of
um,
course. Yeah.
which
And
is important
understood. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I hope you feel so proud that what you're putting out there is just this endless toolbox for just emotional well-being, like just this huge holistic well-rounded view of how we can support ourselves and our families, and then it goes out and out from there, doesn't it?
Yes.
We just because I feel like this is a good opportunity to share, we recently got a new puppy because we
And
wanted
is
my
this the one that was in your book, the new puppy?
no, so that's my first dog. She turned 14 yesterday.
Oh,
But
that's so lovely. That is the sweetest book, by the way. Congratulations.
thank you so much. I wrote that when my son was like 2 months old because I thought, gosh, I just want him to have this little memento of growing up with our
With
doggie. Now she's
a dog.
14. Yeah,
That is so lovely.
thank you. And that is Evie's very much her own. What I've learned from her is to be yourself because she is unapologetically her.
Unapologetically
Right.
herself.
The queen.
Love it. Love it.
So we actually got another dog right away, and then we've noticed that he's perhaps been more of my husband and my almost care dog. And so we thought,
Oh,
okay, we'll get one more because we're
one
crazy.
more.
Yeah.
One more.
But it was really interesting because when we brought him home, my son was so excited for a few minutes and then suddenly just weeping tears.
Oh,
And
Muffin.
he goes, Mom, I think I'm really sad. And I said, honey, I think you're very overwhelmed with emotion because you're so excited. And sometimes people weep when they feel happy,
Yes.
which is such a juxtaposition of, I've really noticed that perhaps even since becoming a mom, but that joy and sadness are so interlinked, like you're
They're
saying, right?
so interlinked.
Yeah.
And the kids don't understand because they only associate tears
Yeah.
with sadness.
Yeah.
So I must be sad
Yeah.
because I'm crying.
Yeah.
But just experiencing that sheer elation and having
Yeah.
one of our little muffins understand
Hmm.
that it could just be so much joy and
Yeah.
excitement and fulfillment. And that
Hmm.
brings tears too.
That's it. It's just wild.
And
So
encouraging the tears, saying yes to the tears.
absolutely.
I'm a
Yes.
boy mom, and
Yeah.
I just I don't love those stereotypes where it's like
No.
don't cry, it makes you weak. And that was
No.
so much a part of our generation. And
Oh
I'm so
yeah.
happy that we are abolishing all of that. I want them
Absolutely.
to cry big
Yes.
crocodile tears, and
Yeah.
tell me why. And tell
Yes.
me why.
Absolutely. One of my favorite singers says, laughing and crying, it's the same release.
I love
Isn't
that.
that great?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That
Joni
is so
Mitchell.
true.
Yeah, laughing and
Joni
crying, you guys.
Mitchell.
Yeah. Oh, you know
Ah,
Joni Mitchell.
I love Joni Mitchell.
Amazing. That's
It
just one
is
of
so
my
true.
favorite lines because you do need to do both, otherwise things are stuck in your body. And I think your book is coming out at such a pivotal moment in wellness awareness and the nervous system. And have you read The Body Keeps the Score?
No, I have
I'll
not.
tell you about this book, when we're off, but basically, it's telling you about how you physiologically hold on to all those feelings if you
Oh,
don't
yes,
release them, right? And so it's
yes.
breaking that down perhaps more scientifically, but you don't have to talk about it scientifically, and that's something we need to, this book is so perfect for teaching your kids anything internal that's going to stay in your body. So let's just explore it and get on with things and get to understand what makes you feel calmer in those moments or how you need to release something and all those little things that you and I didn't really have the tools for growing up. So it's great
Completely
that
did not.
it's really great to put in the effort now, and we're using this, like, this is what you and I are talking about, isn't it, that we're using
We
this
need
toolbox
it. We need the
alongside our
thoughts.
children. Yeah.
And especially with our kids today, the huge increase in
Hmm.
mental health
Yeah.
situations with our kids today
Yeah.
is just it breaks
It's
my heart.
terrifying. Yeah.
It's really terrifying. And I mean, we've seen it since the pandemic. We have been
Yes.
looking at um, PTSD. We have been looking
Mm.
at the stress response. I
Hmm.
mean, even if we look at how fight or flight is now fight,
Yes.
flight, and fawn, and they just keep adding because they're noticing there are so many ways our kids um, are their bodies, their
Hmm.
brains are
Hmm.
responding to all of these scenarios.
Hmm.
Um, I was just talking with a friend the other day, and I'm like, there are so many positions and jobs where they are looking at attendance. I have to admit, they are in our district, they are looking at attendance right now,
Yeah.
teacher attendance,
Yeah.
and trying to look at our patterns for absenteeism. And I'm thinking, I don't think I've ever needed mental health days more.
Yeah.
And back in the day, they didn't even have those. To
Hmm.
call in sick because you mentally needed a break
Hmm.
was just like, no, it was unheard
Unheard
of.
of.
I
Yeah.
mean, I dragged myself in with pneumonia because I was like, it was
Oh.
easier than getting a sub. But to even
Oh.
think of having called in sick because my
Hmm.
anxiety was raging
Hmm.
um, was not a thing.
Yeah.
So to be so aware for our kids and aware for ourselves and
Yes.
to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of our kids
Absolutely.
is
That's it.
so important.
That's it. Oh, I just love it. So, what are your goals? What's next for you as an author?
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm hoping there are so many bubbles brewing. I'm percolating. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that there is something coming down the pipeline soon.
Okay, amazing.
I
Okay.
am trying to um, ice out sections of time for myself to sit down and chip away at
I
it.
don't know where you're
Um,
gonna find those, but that's
I don't know.
impressive.
I don't know. And it's
You
probably
will.
not going to come till my big break times. Like everybody's like, oh, it must be
Yeah.
so nice to have a summer break. I said, if I didn't have that,
Mm.
I would probably have a nervous breakdown.
Of course, teaching is so full on. Like, to be a
It is
good
a lot.
teacher, it can be 24/7 planning. I remember just falling asleep after, 16-hour days of planning, and you're just like, I can't
I'm
stay
done.
awake anymore. So, but
Yeah.
that's not a good balance, like we've talked about,
No.
that's not
So
a
it's
good balance. But
trying to find that balance and then
yeah.
putting aside. I think for when I first started teaching, I always said to myself, it's okay. Being a teacher with all these breaks, I'm going to have the avenues to still write and to perform and to do all the things that I also love
Gosh.
for me.
Yeah.
And I've always been too tired to do it
I
until now. I'm like,
know.
no, it's
Got
time.
to
This
do
is
it.
time. It's
Amazing.
claiming that creativity back for
Yes,
myself as a
absolutely.
release. And it's just been so giving, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great way to say it. Um, I feel like we've talked about so many talking points, and you're obviously going to have to come back on because
I
we're
would
going
love
to see you,
to.
we're going to see you pop up more. But I ask all my guests this. What is something that makes you feel calm in all of the chaos?
That's a hard one, especially
Hmm.
with the status of our world
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Besides your book, because I feel like
that's
that's
my
such
book.
a
Yes.
perfect, yeah.
Like
But
unpacking my bottle, of course.
yes.
I think just surrounding myself in the small joys. I have
Yeah.
found that before I used to think that I needed to have these great big things to take away from the chaos.
Hmm.
Like I felt like I had to take out the chunk of yuck
Hmm.
and substitute it with a chunk of joy. But
Hmm.
it doesn't. It just needs those tiny little sprinkles and sparkles.
Yeah.
And I think I get that from the kid, my own two children,
Hmm.
but also the kids around me and seeing their growth and finding
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
But if I take it down to me and literally bring it down to my own like me level,
Yes. Because
just the
that's
joy.
okay too.
Yes, because that's okay too. It's the
Yeah.
small things. It's
Yeah.
being
I
able to
love
sit
that.
down with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's needle pointing like a grandma on the
Yeah.
couch.
Great. Yeah.
Just the little tiny things to just be able to have the chaos kind of come down to a simmer.
Yeah, and just being in your body, letting your mind feel okay for a moment. Yeah, I love that. That's wonderful. That's a great takeaway. And can you please tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can buy your book, and I will
Yes,
be sharing everything. Yeah.
thank you. You can completely find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
I am Christina with no H. So
Yes.
Cristina underscore Mac, MAC 23. And you can find me there. And I am um, available. Well, the book is available at Chapters Indigo in Canada. It's available at Barnes and Noble,
Wow.
in other places, Amazon .com and .ca, Walmart.com. You can find it pretty much anywhere. Please give it a Google,
Hmm.
and hopefully it will bring joy to your home.
Yeah, it sure will. Thank you so much, Christine. It's been absolutely wonderful, and thank you for sharing all your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me, Carmen. I can't wait to be back.